A few days ago, I was standing in line to enter the pool, the gates of the pool, to enter my daughter's state swim competition. As we were, a lot of people were in this line, and the car parked very close to me, so I couldn't help myself but notice a bumper sticker. And it was very, very interesting bumper sticker in my mind. It said, "Capitalism versus socialism. Your choice, your vote." It also had two flags to make the point. Capitalism was had an American flag under this word, and socialism had a former Soviet Union flag under it. And because half of my life was spent, I was born and raised in the former Soviet Union, that flag was very, very familiar to me. And of course, it attracted my attention. And I started thinking. So I had a thinking process in my head I would like to share with you. And I promise this is not a political video. So I found myself about thinking about these two words. What do they mean to me? So capitalism to me means freedom of enterprise, freedom of competition for in business, in creativity, in whatever you want to do in there. It's abundance. It's generally the opportunity for everyone who wants to succeed in life to start doing about it and have success. And on the other side, the socialism is a regime where it's total government control. And as I know it pretty well, very intimately, I grew up with it. It's not a good thing because there was no free enterprise of any kind. Businesses, literally, private business was prohibited. Even if an older woman would want to sell sunflower seeds in the street, she could be arrested for it. Are you kidding me? Yes, it was true. So it was an interesting experience for me. And it was so, and also socialism to me means poverty, debt, lack. If we didn't have the money, or we had things, or we didn't have merchandise, and we had money. So usually, most of the time, we had neither money nor merchandise. The shelves were empty. It was normal occurrence to have empty shelves in stores. So in my mind, there is no brainer what I would choose, and I did because at some point I moved from that place and I came to America, and I've been living happily ever after here in America. So in my mind, there is no brainer. I choose capitalism. But I am not political. And even today, on the American election day, this video I'm making specifically for election day, just to make it to give it some spice. I'm not willing to discuss politics, nor am I involved in politics. So I have discussed this bumper sticker because it gave me a specific point of reference. And the point of reference is this. We live in a world of duality. And by the way, I am very passionate about this point of reference I'm talking about. And so we live in duality, black and white, day and night, cold and hot, good and bad. You name it, you can find many more examples of that. And so we also have two types of consciousness. One is the material consciousness, and one is the spiritual consciousness. You cannot, and I'm telling you from my experience of many, many years experience, you cannot be with one leg in capitalism and the other leg in the socialism regime. You cannot be part pregnant, half pregnant, and half not. You cannot be with one leg in the material reality or consciousness and with the second leg in the spiritual consciousness. You cannot, in other words, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. So you either serve one or the other. You either pregnant or you're not. You're either in capitalism or socialism, and you're either in the material reality or the spiritual reality. And just me reading books about spirituality doesn't make you be in a spiritual reality. It's all material. So what's the difference? The difference is the material reality is ego based. And I'm not bashing ego. Ego is nothing bad. It's just the human part of us. It's persona. And so, but we serve the ego. We serve our persona in the material reality. I could prove it over and over, but in this video, I'm not going into details. There will be more videos. There are plenty of opportunities for me to speak on the subject. And the spiritual reality means we serve God. And one time a person told me, oh, I'm God's girl. Well, yeah, you go to church, so what? It doesn't mean, and good that she thinks this way, and good that she believes in God. For sure, I teach about it, but it doesn't mean you are in the spiritual consciousness. You're still in the material consciousness. You serve the ego, but you believe about God. So in the spiritual reality, you truly serve God, you truly put God first, and everything else goes second, including the ego. So that's the major difference between the material consciousness and the spiritual consciousness, as there is a huge difference between the capitalistic regime and capitalist regime and socialist regime. So big difference. You can be in both places at the same time. And so why am I talking about it? Because it's your choice. It's your vote. As you vote for this or that, the same here. We have a choice, and we only have free choice, just one thing. God asks us to make a choice. Do we want to remain in the material reality and stay where we are and keep coming back and forth in the karmic wheel of incarnation into the material until we wake up and make a different choice? And the different choice is our vote. The vote is, I want to wake up and go into the spiritual reality because I want to serve God. I am done with my ego. And perhaps people who live in America have no idea about socialism, which is very, very good, because I don't want you to know. I don't want you to experience what I had experienced, because I don't want anybody to experience all the stuff I have experienced in that socialist regime. And so, but by the same token, if we compare socialism and capitalism, I would say socialism is the material reality. Even though I'm just talking about on the spiritual perspective, because it is about abundance, it is about freedom, freedom of enterprise, personal freedom, and so forth. And socialism is actually, when it's controlled by the government, well, if you compare it to the material reality, it's controlled by the ego. The same thing, the ego is the government. So, and there are limitations, there are debts, there is poverty, there is starvation. And so capitalism would be relating to the spiritual reality, and socialism would be relating to the physical material reality. Maybe it's too complicated. Maybe I just stretched it a lot for you. I don't know. But to me, there is no brainer. I have made my choice for sure in both ways. I have chosen capitalism over socialism in the physical world, and I have chosen spiritual reality over material reality, consciousness on the spiritual level. Your choice is yours. Your vote is yours.